Foster's Quarantine Corner.
Good morning, Thorpe Cardinals, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Foster's Quarantine Corner. So happy that you could join us. Today is Wednesday, May 13th. All right, today is material drop-off and pickup. Seniors, also remember that today you need to pick up your caps and gowns. Please make sure to turn in library books that you may have as well. All right, tonight is also the high school awards banquet. Please make sure to keep an eye on your emails and on Facebook so that you can get a link to the live streamed event. All right, also remember that lunch pickup won't be today, it'll be tomorrow because the school parking lot is closed. All right, the joke of the day is from Daniel M. in 7th grade. I don't recommend playing football with fungi because it's a spore loser. Oh, good one, Daniel. Very funny. I like it anytime you can incorporate science humor. All right, following with our science theme today, we have a special fun fact from Mrs. Milliren, who will be sharing a mad scientist moment with us.
Hey Cardinals, this is Mrs. Milliren with your mad scientist moment, mostly because this could make your parents mad. So we're going to talk about a few science concepts today, but we're mostly going to have fun with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a penny inside of a balloon, blow up the balloon and tie it. And we're going to be able to illustrate a few science concepts with this one amazing tool. Remember, science tools, not toys. So when I spin the balloon with the penny inside, centripetal force, which means center seeking, is actually going to keep that penny moving. But then our friends friction and gravity are going to eventually slow it down and pull it down. That's cool. And for those of you that have been in my class, you know that I can find science in movies and in just about anything. So when it comes to homecoming time and we have these maracas, I'm like, hey, we can do the same thing and illustrate our centripetal force with those. All pretty cool. But this is the mad part. Put a hex nut in, hex meaning 6-sided. So we're going to put that in our balloon. Blow it up. Tie it off. And now we're going to make the screaming balloon. This is the part that might just drive your parents mad. They might send you outside with this, or you may even find your balloon popped one day. But you can always say, I'm doing my science. Now, you can try with different size objects inside. You can try with different size balloons. Different speeds will make different sounds. The slower we go, the lower we go, and the faster we go, the higher we go. So have fun with this until the next Mad Scientist moment.
Thank you, Mrs. Milliren. Mind-blowing as usual. All right, in our Adventures in Quarantine segment, Kiki S. in kindergarten is back with another impressive how-to video.
Hi, welcome to Kiki and Joe. Today we're going to show you how to make a bird feeder. These are materials you need. String, a toilet paper roll, peanut butter, something to spread the peanut butter, and bird food. First, put the string through the roll to let it hang. There we got it. Second, put the peanut butter on the roll to let it hang. let's go hang it. There you go. I hope you like making your bird feeder. Bye!
Thank you, Kiki. Way to go. All right, in today's episode, we are joined by Art Foster, who is a marriage and family therapist. He is going to help us understand what many people are experiencing right now and give us some tips on how to stay mentally strong through this coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Foster completed his undergrad work at Brigham Young University in marriage, family, and human development. He then went on to earn a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from UW-Stout. He worked with the Health and Human Services Clinic in Adams County, Wisconsin, before establishing his own private practice as a marriage and family therapist. Okay, I'm with our guest today, Mr. Art Foster, live from Adams Friendship, Wisconsin. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Before we get going on our very hard-pressing questions, I want to gauge how nervous you are. How do you feel knowing that this episode may be viewed by up to a dozen fans?
It sounds like a normal family dinner to me, if that's all there are is a dozen.
All right.
I just hope it doesn't cause you to lose your job or something.
I hope not either. All right, so the questions that I'm going to pose today are just very practical questions. I respect what you do a lot. I appreciate all the help that you give people. You're a person of service. You look to serve those around you and to make the lives of other people better. And so with the questions today, I just wanted to focus on, what some of the things are that you've noticed people have been feeling or doing while in this coronavirus pandemic. Maybe why we're feeling that way, and whether it's kids acting off the wall or it's adults being frustrated or whatever it may be. Why are we acting that way? And then maybe some practical tips on how we can all get through this a little bit smoother. So let's go ahead and start at the beginning. What are some challenges that families are facing during this safer at home order? I know that you're in touch with a lot of families and you watch the news and you stay up on your professional reading and things like that. So what are some of the things that you've noticed are occurring in this pandemic?
Well, I think fundamentally it is fear. I think people have in many instances almost been overcome by fear. Fear of death, dying, fear of losing loved ones or friends, fear of losing their job, fear of losing their home, fear of losing their business, or fear of losing the farm. Just in general, fear that has come upon so many people. And that tends to lead to very anxious feelings and oftentimes depressed feelings, and a feeling of helplessness. I think, generally speaking, that encompasses most of the things that I see.
Do you notice a difference between how kids are reacting to this situation and how their parents might be reacting?
Well, I think the younger the child, probably the less is the reaction. I think teenagers probably struggle more with it because they're older, they can see more, they understand more. I think they're more concerned about their academic programs. I mean, we saw your corner dealing with seniors. First time I expect in the history of Thorpe High School that there was not going to be a senior graduation. And, anxiety about what are they going to do? Are they going to go to college? Are schools going to be open? Or is it going to be done online? Is there going to be employment opportunities if they spend a lot of time, work, and effort to become trained in whether it be university or trade school or business college or whatever? So, and then of course, parents. Parents are faced with a situation that I doubt that many of them ever imagined they would have to deal with. I doubt, I'm quite certain, that the parents have never had an experience before in their lives where they are quarantined to their own home and can't go out except for certain specific reasons. So all this dysfunction, all this uncertainty, all this instability affects families and individuals in ways that they've never had to deal with before.
So I think you hit on a good point. A lot of it is kind of driven by fear, and you know, the old saying goes that uncertainty cultivates fear. What do you think is causing this fear? Do you think it's that uncertainty, or is it something a little bit more psychological, or is it just simply we're afraid of the unknown?
I think the loss of one's control over their lives, over their families. You don't have the same control over your own family that you did 2 months ago. And you know, when this happens and we don't feel like we're in control anymore, that's when the anxiety really starts to hit us. And when you look at the complete disruption of families' routines and schedules, who would have imagined at the start of your school year that all the families would be together doing homeschooling? So the sense of not being in control anymore, and the sense that many have of feeling like they're being controlled rather than having control over their own lives and their own destiny, I think is especially to the extent that it seems to be the case now. And as you said, you know, there's so much negativity. Practically all of the media is broadcasting something negative, and something that tends to prompt and instill fear in people. You know, recession, depression, complete collapse of the financial system. All these awful, dire predictions constantly on TV from all channels. Of course, they dispute each other and fight about it, but all of them, I shouldn't say all of them, most of them, I believe, tend to instill a sense of instability and fear in one's life. Certainly not too much is positive about it. So I think, you know, this instability is generating so much of the fear and the anxiety and depression that people experience when they feel like they're no longer in control. That makes sense.
It sure does. You know, and I think, you know, I'm not a big fan of seeing myself on camera. I don't like seeing myself in videos. Like father, like son, I guess. But
I would say that you look much better than I do on camera, so be comforted there.
But you know, one of the reasons that Mrs. Foster and I decided to do this Quarantine Corner episode every day is because we're trying to help people overcome that fear, that negativity, give people something positive to look forward to, and you know, I think that's kind of a community effort. I think there are little things we can all do to bring a little bit of sunshine to other people's lives, and you know, we can't control everything right now, but maybe we can control how we feel a little bit more and how we interact with somebody else a little bit more, and try to spread that positivity.
And that's been outstanding, because it is always focused on something positive, something good, something that you do have control over, which of course is part of, you know, if you would like to get into treatments of these sorts of things, it's for us to realize what it is we still do have control over and what we can regain control over. And in a sense, that message comes through on these Quarantine Corner episodes, as well as some humor. And humor is an important part of it.
Probably very little humor, but we're doing our best. So
There's a lot of knee slappers I've noticed, Mr.
There are.
Foster. That's great.
The kids definitely keep these episodes afloat, that's for sure. They do the heavy lifting. So in that vein of trying to kind of overcome these issues and help ourselves and help others to be a little bit stronger and a little bit happier, let's get to some of the, I guess, practical advice that you would give as a marriage and family and mental health therapist. Okay, so what are some strategies maybe that younger students and teenage students can use to cope and stay strong through this difficult time?
Well, I think probably the first strategy would be for especially the children and teenagers is to talk with their parents, express their feelings, be willing to accept their feelings, talk about their feelings, talk with a parent, with an older sibling, or with another trusted adult, and find someone that's willing to listen and understand and help them to understand what they're feeling, some of the reasons why they're feeling it. It's okay to feel it, and maybe work through some ideas on how they can learn to control and kind of funnel their feelings in a positive way, and reassure them that all is not lost, that they still have a future, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there are good things, yet that are going to happen. Especially for older children and teenagers, avoid social media as much as you can. It is so filled with the negative and the destructive and contention. Restrict it to that which you know is going to be positive. Same thing with TV or any of the media. This is a time when we want to seek and contribute to the positive in our families, our surroundings, our community, and whoever sees us in media. I think an important part for both youth and adults is to find something to do for other people. The ability to look outward rather than inward. That's very often, part of a treatment plan for folks that are struggling with depression or anxiety. The more we tend to look out of ourselves and look to figure out what we can do to help others around us, the happier we will usually feel. That's important in circumstances like this. Physical activity. I noticed that you and the girls have been out in your yard and hiking where it's permitted. It's very healthy for people to get outside in the sunshine, in the fresh air, to have physical exertion. They will feel better, and it will give them opportunities to be in control of what they're doing. And that's a good thing. But, some melatonin from the sun and that sort of thing is very good, not only for children or adolescents, but for adults too. Universally, it's good for people. Go on a walk. Do things together outside. For children, play. It's important that they have playtime. But be physically active. That's quite a few. I probably could come with a long list, but I think that would help to provide some protection as well as some proactive things that can be done. Look at the positive of families being together. There's worry that families being together, they're going to be on each other's throats and so on. Well, the opposite could be true too. That gives families opportunities they haven't had before to be together, to go do some fun, great things, maybe dig up a garden or do a family project that they've talked about and haven't had the time to do. So
Okay.
You know, talk about and think about positives and go for it.
All right. Anything specifically that the parents can do to take care of themselves? I know that, you know, as a principal, I'm very concerned about my students, and I think about them from the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I lay my head down to sleep. But parents and adults are also struggling too. It's not just isolated to the students whose routine has been interrupted. Anything or any advice that you might have for the adults or parents or grandparents?
Just what you said in your statement, take care of yourselves. It's important for your children to know that their parents are doing well, even during difficult times. And so be kind, be patient with each other. Many parents maybe are spending more time now than they've ever spent together because they're kind of locked into their situation. So it's important to be patient with one another and to express love to one another and to be appreciative of what's each other are doing and say so and be thankful. This may seem strange, but get up every day, get dressed, and get going. There again, you know, do things that are physical, do things that need to be done, do things for other people. You know, one of the debilitating miseries of depression is many people don't even want to get up, but get up, force yourself, and get up and do things. You know, encourage each other to talk as a couple together. We talked about the children confiding in and needing to be listened, and the value of them, you know, talking out their feelings and anxieties. The same holds true for adults. And, you know, couples need to talk and listen to each other, listen more than talk, and be supportive of each other's fears and what the feelings are. Because, again, this generation has never gone through anything like this. You know, as old as I am, the Great Depression ended about 9 years before I was born. And we are now getting into territory in many ways that are going to be challenging like it was. So parents in this day and age have never dealt with this before. So they need to take care of themselves, to be strong together as a couple, and let their children see that. And the children are going to sense security and safety because of that. So, you know, and figure out times when parents can be alone, even if it's going out on a walk alone, have some alone time. You know, if things were normal, I'd say, you know, have a weekly date night. But you could still have a date night. It just might be at the edge of the backyard, but whatever. As long as it's alone, uninterrupted, and you can talk and figure out things together. So those are some ideas I think that would be helpful.
I guess kind of the last question, you know, we've talked about students and children, how they can help themselves, and some pointers. We've talked about parents and how they can help themselves. What about any advice you would give to parents so trying to help and support their students being as successful as possible? Anything that parents can do in particular to help their students be successful during this time?
Well, I think right now the first thing would be to help their children finish their academic program for the year. It would be difficult if children feel like they are way behind when they start school next year. And so that's an immediate need that I think that children have. And there again, this is something that parents haven't, most of them anyway, haven't had to face before. But do whatever has to be done and help them to complete their program. I'd say keep them busy with positive activities, both work and play. When children are busy doing positive things, they don't have that much time to worry about other things that are going on around them. Develop a schedule and a routine for the family and stick with it. one of the problems of this, stay-at-home, safer-at-home order is that the family's routines have been disrupted. They're no longer what they were. And so that means there needs to be new routines and schedules established. Children get a feeling of security and safety when there's routine. Routine's good. So establish that, and in fact, I guess I'd encourage parents to counsel with their children to decide what their routines would be and what their schedule should be, so that they have kind of a buy-in with it. I think it'd be good to, use appropriate media to stay in touch with other family members and other friends. Like we're doing with this. They could, spend time with grandma and grandpa, or great grandma and great grandpa, or aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever. And so there's that sense of the power of family, that there's a connectedness there that I think it's important. I think humor. Let's not forget the positive power of appropriate humor. Laugh. Find the humor in each other. Find the humor in our circumstances. Don't be afraid to be cheerful. A cheerful person can provide spice to life. So, find some humor in things. To the fullest extent possible, stay connected with your religious community if you have one. Be willing to serve where you can. There may be shut-ins who don't have family, who don't have anyone that checks on them. That's something that we can do from our home, and be willing to be served by others. There's great power in religious communities. If you belong to one, use it. And I would say, finally, if parents or children are struggling with depression or anxiety that just they feel is out of control, don't be afraid to get some professional help. Whether it means seeing a medical doctor to consider medications that might temporarily be needed, or seeing a therapist or counselor to talk through and get ideas and get support. Don't be afraid to get help if you feel like your life is spun out of control and it gets to the point where you can't handle the activities of daily living. So
okay,
those are quite a few.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. It's very helpful, and hopefully it, even if it's not groundbreaking news-making advice, maybe it helps to solidify some practices or reaffirm some beliefs that people have had. But either way, I appreciate you coming on and offering your professional expertise and, being a resource for the community of Thorpe, albeit online, and appreciate you doing this. It means a lot to me, and hopefully it benefits our community up here in Thorpe.
I was just going to say thank you for the opportunity. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We love the community of Thorpe. It's a wonderful place, and the folks who live there are very blessed for being there, I do believe. So
I believe so too.
I've enjoyed it. Hope it's helpful.
Well, I've had you on, offering your professional advice and expertise. My mother was a correctional officer for 20 years. She might have some good advice to parents on how to manage a building full of kids, huh? Maybe she should be the next guest.
If their home becomes a prison cell hall, I'm sure she can give all sorts of advice.
Help know how to lock down these kids. Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You are welcome.
All right, stay safe.
You too.
Bye.
And stay smart as well.
And stay smart. Thank you so much, Mr. Foster. I hope that we can all use this information to help us get through this difficult time. That does it for today's episode, everybody. Please remember to stay safe, stay sanitized, and stay smart.
Mr. Foster's Corner.